Is Gladys there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Personnel Commission virtual meeting. The meeting will now come to order at 5:31 p.m. If I can ask Mr. Salazar to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. You can't hear me?
You kind of come in and out, Val.
Okay. I asked if you could scan and cite the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't know. Just, hey, I got my little flag right here. We're just going to do the best we can.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Not bad.
Thank you. I'm going to call roll now. I'm here, Val Dixon. Mr. Salazar.
Here.
Mr. Bond.
Here.
Miss Bird.
Here.
Miss Irma Garcia.
Here.
Miss Nursey Garcia.
Here.
Thank you. I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
I need it.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote, and I'll do it by roll call. Mr. Bond,
Yes.
Mr. Salazar,
Aye.
I move to approve the minutes from the March 5th, 2020 Special Personnel and Commission meeting as submitted. I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion about the minutes? I hear none. Call for the vote by roll. Mr. Bond,
Yes.
Mr. Salazar.
Aye.
I move to approve the minutes from the March 5th, 2020 Personnel Commission meeting as submitted or amended. I need a second.
I second.
Mr. Bond. Any discussion? I'm going to call for the vote by roll call. Mr. Bond,
Yes.
Mr. Salazar.
Aye.
We're going to move to public comments. And instead of reading it to make this meeting a little better, shorter, I ask that if there's any comments, Mrs. Nursey Garcia, that you can read them. Audience, you should have submitted your comments ahead of time. If you did not, you can submit them and we will take them in consideration at our next meeting. Go ahead, Mrs. Garcia.
I believe Kathy DeVol is on the line and I think she wants to speak. Kathy, did you want to? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I had just something, if that would be all right.
She's frozen.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
I can.
you.
Oh, okay.
You have 3 minutes and I'm going to start a timer.
Okay, it's less than that. I just wanted to say that I work in the Fiscal Services Department, and this is regarding my appeal for the account analyst position to be able to test for it. I've often taken on various responsibilities of this position. I take pride in my work. I'm a team player, and I enjoy performing the duties required, which is why I applied. The wording in the flyer was miscommunicated. I feel that even though I may not have college courses in bookkeeping, I have over 30 years experience with the school district as a secretary at school sites as well as in the district office, and have repeatedly performed countless duties that require bookkeeping skills. After next week, we'll have a vacant account analyst position under department, and I'll be called upon to fulfill various tasks required until it can be filled. Yet it's been determined that I'm not even qualified to test for this position. So I just ask that you please consider my appeal that I would like to be able to test for this, considering that I often do various duties required of this position. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Garcia, you could go on with the next public comment. No, can you unmute yourself, please?
Oh, sorry.
No, can you mute yourself back, Kathy? And I need Ms. Garcia to unmute herself.
Okay. So I'll be reading a letter from Sean McDowell. So he says, I, Sean McDowell, am writing to contest the decision of the Personnel Commission to remove my name from eligibility list for the position of Facilities Analyst for cost detail under Rule 4.3.1.26. There is a record of unsatisfactory results of a reference check or background investigation of the eligible conducted by the district. The decision to disqualify me on the basis of an unsatisfactory reference comes as a shock to myself, as well as managers and fellow employees who I have worked alongside for the past 3 years. When it became known that I was seeking other employment, multiple individuals that I have worked with were pulled me aside to express appreciation for what I have done for them in our company. I am contesting my disqualifications because I feel that my positive reputation on my current institution and broad skill set obtained while working for various departments and managers directly contradicts such a determination made based upon reference given by my current supervisor. My supervisor was both restricted by company policy and scope of reference given, and would stand to lose a vital employee if I were to be successful in finding other employment. Primarily due to the latter reasons, I indicated that my current employer should not be contacted with my application for the position. I was given no option to proceed by my district human resources representative under the justification of policy, and thus I provided the contact information for my current supervisor despite my president of HR after receiving notice of intent to disqualify. I was also unable to obtain any specific contest against the reference given. Hold on. I had anticipated that if my supervisor were to be contacted for any reason, that they would provide a reference consistent with my excellent reputation at my company. Unfortunately, this does not appear to have been the case and has also led to retaliation in the form of near total workload, reassignment, and the posting of my job for applicants while being fully aware of my disqualification. I would like to urge the Personnel Commission to please reconsider my disqualification and reverse the decision based upon the letter of recommendation provided by my previous supervisor and the president and testimony of the two of Senior Vice President reference provided by Human Resource. And that's all it says.
Thank you. Do you have any more public comments to read?
I don't.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to item C, consent action items. All matters listed under consent action items are to be considered for ratification and will be enacted by one motion followed by a roll call vote. There will be no separate discussions of these items unless the commission, well, we don't have audience or staff request specific items to be removed from the consent item for separate action. Do we have any items that we need to remove, Mr. Salazar or Mr. Bond?
Yes.
I didn't see any.
Okay. I move to approve the consent action items as submitted.
I second.
Okay. Any discussion?
None.
Call for Mr. Bond,
Yes.
Mr. Salazar.
Aye.
Action item D, the commission shall discuss the following recommendation items will be voted on separately. Proposed budget for 2020-2021, preliminary draft, first reading. The Personnel Commission will receive the directions, recommendations to review and discuss a date to conduct the required public hearing on the budget. Gladys, do I need to do that first before we talk about the budget? Did I lose her? Gladys, are you there?
I'm sorry, you may have discussion and then vote.
Thank you. Do you want to, you're sideways. Can you turn yourself up, right side up?
Who, me?
Yes.
I didn't do anything unless, I'm having problems with my service. I haven't done anything, so I have no idea why it's like that.
I can't hear anyone.
Can you hear me now, Mike? And you're on mute. You still can't hear? Still can't hear? Maybe sign out and sign back in. We'll wait for you.
Mr. McDowell, while you're waiting, if you want to, you can stay here for the whole meeting, but the decision, we will be mailing that to you tomorrow or within the next 5 days after the meeting, but you're welcome to attend the whole meeting.
I'm back.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, Gladys, you have the floor.
When we put together the budget for next year, our funds have not, our funds went up just a few cents, but it's the first reading for the budget. After deciding the date when we will submit it for final reading, we will be sending our proposed budget to fiscal for action after this commission, or to see if they have any questions with it. And if they have questions with it, we will bring those questions back at the next meeting.
I have a question for you. So you said you'll submit it after we do the public hearing?
Yes.
For it?
No, yes, for today's. We have been in contact with them for that. We made a few changes just in changing funding from one object code to another.
Oh, okay.
For this first reading, after the commission's action on it, we will once again send it to fiscal so that they will have our proposed budget.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Salazar or Mr. Bond?
No,
I
there's
have none.
No.
Okay. I have none either. So we just need to, can we do the public hearing and ratify it in both at our personnel commission meeting all at the same time, Gladys?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Mr. Salazar and Mr. Bond, I recommend that we do it on May 7th at our next personnel commission meeting.
Good with me.
Okay. Okay, so it is moved that the Personnel Commission set the public hearing for the budget for 2020-21 to be held on May 7th, 2020. The Personnel Director is directed to ensure that all legal notices, invitations, and other requirements be complete to ensure that the Commission may act legally on the budget at the May 7th, 2020 Personnel Commission meeting, as well as providing any responses that the commissioners may have about the draft budget proposal prior to that date. I move.
I'll second.
I'll call for the vote. Roll call, Mr. Bond,
Yes.
Mr. Salazar.
Aye.
Ms. Dixon, before you go forward to the next item, under consent item, action items, number 1 should be an action item. So we would need to ratify the recruitments. That should be an action item.
I don't, oh,
Mhm.
what do you mean? Number 1, where?
Ratification of recruitments as submitted.
I don't know if I see what you're looking at.
On page 4.
It should have been an action item instead of under the consent.
Yes, the consent items are the documents that we approve that I certify. But these are items which are also certified, but we typically would have that under our action items because we do have a discussion on them.
Okay, so there's 2 items to be ratified for ratification.
Mhm.
So we should have amended the agenda.
Well, no, you don't have to amend the agenda because you're not changing anything on the agenda. So just for under the consent items, number 1. So you would like to ratify all those recruitments.
Okay, so we'll go back. So move to approve the ratifications under consent item 1. So that would be A through I. I need a second.
Second.
Call for the vote. Mr. Bond,
Aye.
Mr. Salazar,
Aye.
Ms. Garcia, do you have that? You can just shake your head. You do. Under consent item number 2, I move to ratify cafeteria worker. I need a second.
I second.
Discussion.
None.
Miss Bird, is there discussion?
No, not on number 2.
Okay. Call for the vote. Mr. Bond,
Aye.
Mr. Salazar.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Is that what we needed to do, Miss Bird?
Yes, yes.
That's it. Okay.
And number 3, please.
I'm sorry.
Number 3, please. At the number 3 on the next approval of eligibility list extension.
understand why we're doing this if we did it under consent.
I know. I need to something for number 3.
Okay, so I move to approve the eligibility list extension for consent item number 3. I need a second.
I'll
I need a
second.
second. Discussion?
I have a comment for number 3A.
Go ahead.
The IT department reached out to me this week and they would like us to pull that item. They would like us to open recruitment. However, we have at least 7 internal employees on the eligibility list. And we have, I think, about 20 some on the open list. And the candidate list, the candidates were interested in us extending that recruitment. So what I'm here is I would like to know if the commission would like to pull it or if they would like to extend the recruitment as commission staff requests.
And how it's just one opening?
Yes, we currently only have 1 vacancy in that classification.
And it's 27 people total on the list that are still interested?
Approximately 27. I know that there are 7 internal.
And you guys canvassed the list and everybody's still interested?
Yes. The majority were still interested, yes. But they would like us to end that recruitment on 4/17/20 and to and open another recruitment.
Okay, so my ask of you is what's majority mean? What's the number?
I don't have it in front of me, but if the 7 internal employees, they wanted it to be extended.
Okay. Any discussion, Mr. Salazar, about pulling it or keeping it or extending it?
Mr. Bond, I'll wait for Mr. Bond. Sound like
Okay. Mr. Bond?
No, I don't have any question. I don't.
so that's my first concern. And then my
Right.
second concern is, and now we're talking about moving something off of were these items misplaced in the agenda? What's going on here? I'm a little confused.
Mr. Salazar, when Mr. Tu, the director of IT, saw the item on the agenda yesterday, or the day before, he sent me an email to ask if I removed that item. So that's why it was already, he saw that it was posted.
It's already posted. Okay. Okay. And so now why would we pull it?
And if we would pull it, if you want to agree with the IT director for us to reopen recruitment. That's the only reason why you would pull it.
But we already have a list.
We have an adequate amount to fill the vacant position.
I'm sorry, say that one more time, please.
We have an adequate amount of candidates to fill vacant positions.
Got it. Okay.
And I'm sorry, doing this on the internet for the first time, I'm also confused and I'm making you more confused. So I apologize for that.
No, it's just that usually, the agenda is already,
right.
Is set, and they're not action items within separate action items within the confines of, that particular part of the agenda.
Correct.
They're always outside. So that was the first thing. So this, and I understand what happened here, Ms. Bird. I understand, he saw that and he said, whoa, wait a minute, hold on. So I get that. You can't, amend the agenda. Now we're in a place where, we decide whether or not we're going to do that. But, okay. I think I have the information I need to make a decision on that. So I don't know if do I say that now or do we just vote on it? And
you can.
Well, we need to make a motion. Do we pull it or are we going to keep it?
Okay. Okay, I gotcha. Okay. Well, so I can make a motion. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So I move that we just keep it.
I second the motion. All
I
right,
second.
okay.
Okay.
Call for the vote. Mr. Bond,
Yes.
Mr. Salazar.
Aye.
All right. We're gonna move on to action item 2. The commission will discuss the following recommendation. First read to the revision of the Personnel Commission Rule 3.7.5 reclassification. I move.
I second.
Ms. Byrd, you have the floor.
It's just as submitted. We made changes due to when a reclass, I believe. I'm sorry, I don't have it up on. I just have the first part of the agenda. But there were parts in there that I needed to. Unfortunately, I can't go to it because I don't have the paper in front of me. But there were parts in there that we need to change based on some information that we needed from the district. And I did share with the district and the union. And I did not get any response or negative responses regarding the changes that we were making there.
Okay, it's just a discussion item, so,
Yes,
all right.
it's just first reading, and then next month we bring it back for a second reading.
Okay. So, action item, let me see. B, first reading to the revision of the Personnel Commission Rule 17.2.7, promotion salary rate. I move.
I second.
Okay. Go ahead, Mrs. Byrd.
And the changes on this one was due to when a regular classified employee promotes into a management position. On promotions, an employee should receive a higher compensation. But because of different stipends that an employee may have had as a regular classified employee, there was a recent promotion and that person winded up making less money annually. So the changes in that rule are to make sure that as promotion, that people promoting from regular to management, or everyone gets an adequate compensation, that they should be paid at least 4% for regular classified employees, or on the management salary schedule is 5%.
Okay, that's good. Okay, we're gonna move on to, any questions about that? Okay.
None.
Okay. We'll move on to action item 3. It is recommended that the Personnel Commission approve the job classification specification for HVACR plumbing supervisor to be set at a management salary range 48A. I move.
I second.
Second. Discussion?
None.
Do you have any to say, Ms. Byrd? I thought, no.
Yes, the
Okay.
changes on there where we were requested so that the correct title of the person supervisor would be on there.
Okay. All right. Call for the vote.
No, excuse me, that's because we didn't have the salary range. That one's because we didn't have the salary range on the original job spec when you approved it.
Okay. Okay. Call for the vote. Mr. Bond?
Yes.
Mr. Salazar?
Aye.
Okay, action item 4. It is recommended that the Personnel Commission approve the revision to the job classification specification for Administrator of Operations. I move.
I second.
Okay. Discussion? Call for the vote. Mr. Bond?
Aye.
Mr. Salazar?
Aye.
Action item 5. It is recommended that the Personnel Commission approves the revision to the job classification specification for warehouse manager. I move.
I second.
Any discussion? Call for the vote. Mr. Bond?
Aye.
Mr. Salazar?
Aye.
Action item, item E, information items and reports. Mrs. Byrd?
We left this on here because Mr. Bond wanted to report on attending the CSPCA conference during our last meeting, which was cut short. So if Mr. Bond wanted to give any information out on that, that's why we agenda.
I'll pass on that until the next meeting.
Okay.
So we have a face-to-face.
Yeah, that'd be better. Item number 5, discussion. The next Personnel Commission meeting will be held on May 7th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. I really doubt if it's going to be in the Personnel Commission office at this time, since the stay-at-home orders have extended to May 15th. We will confirm that and let you know, but we will have a meeting on that day. If it's virtual or I doubt it'd be in person. We'll move to item G. Commissioners' comments. Mr. Bond, do you have any comments?
No, I can hear you fine. It's a little bit harder I hear everybody, but it's better when you see the person. So you're the only person that I've seen on it. Maybe that, and you're the chairman, so that might be the reason. But
We'll teach you how to get to everybody's view. Mr. Salazar, you have any comments?
I have no comments, Madam Chair. Let me back up. Thank you to everybody, the tech people, for putting it together. I know, these are challenging times, and obviously I want to thank staff for their hard work too, and to the other commissioners for, working through such a good meeting. It's a good meeting. So, just thanks to everybody, and I appreciate your hard work.
Okay. I don't have any comments. So at this time, the commission will adjourn to closed session at 6:03. That means commissioners and the staff that need to be there, we need to sign out of this meeting, sign into the next meeting. Any public or anybody else that wants to stand, to just stay here, and we will be back to report out. Thank you. Okay, I think we're ready. The commission is reconvening in open session at 6:44 p.m. and the report on the following actions taken in closed session. Applicant 20-2015 denied. Applicant 20-2016 approved. Applicant 20-2017 approved. The commission is adjourning this meeting at 6:44. We will see everyone at the next commission meeting on May 17th. Thank you and have a good evening.
May 7th.
May 7th. All righty. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.